The sender's message began with a warning, a cautionary tale about the dangers lurking within the digital realm. The story revolved around a young woman named Susan, whose life was forever altered by a sinister force that had infiltrated her through Facebook Messenger. Susan was an ordinary girl with an affinity for social media and a network of friends that spanned the digital landscape. One fateful day, as she scrolled through her Facebook feed, a notification caught her attention. A message from an unfamiliar name, a profile picture shrouded in darkness. Intrigued, yet cautious, she opened the message, unaware of the malevolent force that awaited her on the other side. The first message was innocuous, a simple greeting, devoid of any ill intent. It seemed harmless, even friendly. But as Susan delved deeper into conversation with this unknown sender, a sense of unease began to creep into her heart. The conversation took a dark turn as the sender displayed an uncanny knowledge of Susan's deepest secrets and fears. Each message carried a sinister undertone tailored to exploit her vulnerabilities. It was as if the sender had an intimate understanding of her psyche, using their knowledge to manipulate her emotions. Their words wormed their way into her mind, whispering doubts and planting seeds of fear that took root within her soul. But it wasn't just psychological torment that Susan endured. The malevolent force began to manifest itself beyond the digital realm. Susan would feel an inexplicable presence, a cold breath against her neck when she was alone in her room. Shadows danced in the periphery of her vision, their fleeting movements taunting her sanity. The sender seemed to invade her reality, leaving her trapped in a nightmarish existence. Sleep became a distant memory for Susan. Night after night, she would lay in bed, haunted by nightmarish visions that invaded her dreams. The sender's presence seeped into her subconscious, twisting pleasant dreams into distorted nightmares. Sleep paralysis became a frequent occurrence, where she would wake, paralyzed and vulnerable, as a dark figure loomed over her bed. Desperation consumed Susan as she sought answers, consulting psychics and paranormal experts in a desperate bid to break free from the clutches of this malevolent force. But their attempts proved futile, as the sender seemed to always be one step ahead. It was as if the force feeding on her fear reveled in her torment, relishing the game of psychological cat and mouse. Her friendships began to crumble under the weight of suspicion as the sender's influence seeped into her everyday life. The line between reality and the twisted realm of the malevolent force blurred, leaving Susan in a perpetual state of fear and isolation. She became a shell of her former self, a prisoner to her own deteriorating mental state. She sought help from online communities, desperate for a solution to her torment. But no matter how many experts she consulted or how many security measures she put in place, the entity always found a way to infiltrate her virtual space. It seemed to feed on her fear, growing stronger with each passing day, its presence overwhelming any attempts at escape. Isolation became Susan's only refuge. She disconnected from social media, deleted her accounts, and severed ties with the digital world. Yet, the entity's influence lingered, like a stain that couldn't be washed away. It haunted her dreams, manifesting as distorted images and echoing whispers that whispered of eternal suffering. Susan's life crumbled under the weight of the relentless torment. Her relationships disintegrated, her mental health deteriorated, and she became a mere shell of her former self. The entity had succeeded in breaking her spirit, leaving her trapped in a perpetual state of anguish and despair. To this day, Susan remains haunted by that sinister encounter. The scars, both physical and emotional, continue to serve as a reminder of the power that darkness can wield within the virtual realm. She lives in a perpetual state of paranoia, forever looking over her shoulder, knowing that the malevolent force could resurface at any moment. As I stared into the dimly lit room, the glow from my monitor casting eerie shadows on the walls, I found myself captivated by a message that had arrived on a Facebook Messenger. The sender claimed to possess a haunting tale, a story that had plagued him for years. My curiosity was piqued, and against my better judgment, I couldn't resist the allure of the unknown. With a deep breath, I typed a response, urging them to share their unsettling narrative. Minutes stretched into what felt like an eternity as I anxiously awaited their reply. Finally, the notification chimed, and the sender began to unravel his tale, a story that would forever alter my perception of a seemingly peaceful town. It all began in Oakwood, a small and seemingly idyllic town nestled deep within the embrace of an ancient forest. The streets were adorned with charming cottages, their cheerful facades belying the darkness that lurked within. Oakwood had always exuded an aura of tranquility, where neighbors knew each other by name and greeted one another with warm smiles. However, beneath this picturesque veneer, an undercurrent of fear and secrecy permeated the community. Whispers of a legend echoed through the town's narrow alleys, passed down through generations with bated breath. It was a tale that no one dared speak of openly, fearing that the mere mention of its existence would unleash a malevolence that lay dormant within the heart of the woods. According to the legend, an unknown entity haunted the depths of Oakwood's forest, a restless spirit thirsting for human souls. Forgotten by time and consumed by a malevolence as ancient as the trees themselves, it would emerge from the shadows on moonless nights, seeking to ensnare those foolish enough to wander the woods alone. As I delved deeper into the sender's account, a chill coursed through my veins. It was as if the presence of this malevolent entity seeped through the screen, surrounding me in an ethereal darkness that defied explanation. The sender described a night not too long ago when he found himself in Oakwood, visiting a childhood friend. Little did he know that his journey would take him down a treacherous path, forever altering his perception of the world. After bidding farewell to his friend, he decided to take a shortcut through the very woods that harbored the lurking darkness. Oblivious to the perils that awaited him, he ventured deeper into the forest, his footsteps crunching on the leaf-covered ground. Each step carried the man further into a realm of nightmares. The forest seemed to come alive as he penetrated its heart. The air grew heavy, laden with a sense of foreboding that hung like a shroud around him. Silence descended, broken only by the rustling of leaves in the wind, a haunting symphony that sent shivers down his spine. A sudden gust of wind sliced through the trees, carrying with it a chilling whisper. Goosebumps erupted on the man's flesh as he felt an unyielding gaze upon him, a gaze that seemed to penetrate his very soul. Panic gripped his heart, pounding with a rhythm that matched the tempo of his racing footsteps. Desperation fueled his every move as he quickened his pace, aching to escape the clutches of the encroaching darkness. But his efforts were in vain. The entity was relentless, its presence closing in on him, suffocating his every breath. It seemed to revel in his fear, drawing pleasure from his terror as if his anguish nourished its insatiable hunger. With every stride he took, the entity matched its pace, inching closer and closer, its ghostly form gliding effortlessly above the forest floor. It was as if the rules of nature no longer applied, and they were trapped in a nightmarish realm where the laws of reality had crumbled. The man's legs burned, aching with exhaustion, but he pushed onward, driven by an instinctual survival instinct. Yet no matter how fast he ran, the entity remained just a hair's breadth behind, its presence an ever-present reminder of their impending doom. But just as it seemed his fate was sealed, a deafening screech sliced through the air, tearing through the night like a banshee's wail. Startled, the man glanced back, his eyes widening with disbelief. Another figure had materialized, a force of power and ethereal energy, standing defiantly between the man and his relentless pursuer. A fierce battle ensued, the clash of supernatural forces reverberating through the forest. Brilliant flashes of light illuminated the night, casting an otherworldly glow upon the twisted trees. The sender stood in awe and terror, his heart pounding in his chest as the forces of light and darkness collided in a cataclysmic struggle. The victorious entity, bathed in radiant energy, turned its gaze towards the sender, a silent acknowledgement passing between them. And then, just as suddenly as it had appeared, the triumphant presence faded into the night, leaving the sender trembling in the aftermath of the supernatural clash. From that moment forward, his perspective on life shifted. Gratitude blossomed within his heart, a newfound appreciation for the fragile line that separated his existence from the realm of the unknown. He shared his tale as a warning, An urgent plea for others to respect the mysteries that lay hidden, to tread cautiously in the uncharted territories of the world. As I finished reading the sender's account, a shudder rippled through my body. The weight of his words lingered, leaving me with a newfound sense of unease. It was a chilling reminder that sometimes the most serene places could conceal the darkest secrets, that the boundaries between reality and the supernatural were thinner than we could ever imagine. I closed the chat app, but the story continued to haunt me, leaving me to wonder about the unexplored mysteries that lie just beyond the edge of our understanding.